too many options, nobody commits. Okay. And even though I can understand that's partly true, okay, this is the biggest thing that I want you to see is that apps, even though they create perceived abundance, okay, people can start believing there is always someone better one swipe away. And even though the app may create options, character determines commitment. Would you write that down? It's the last thing I got. Last thing I got. Even though the app creates options, character determines commitment. You got options everywhere. And someone once said you're only as good as your options. I get to see the limit, the level of your character by how many options you have and your willingness to still commit. Commit to what? Commit to your values. Commit to who's in front of you. Commit to who's choosing you. Y'all act like options are only shown through dating apps. No, options are shown everywhere. So here's where I stand in engaging with this is that the app creates access. Okay, it's a beginning step. It's an initiator, but maturity determines whether access becomes a distraction or discernment. I don't have the time to go into that. But if there's one thing I'll say to it is that when you continue to develop in maturity, you recognize based off of what you're getting to learn of said person through how you met them, is this something that is fitting or is this something that I need to let go of? And that comes with time, more conversations, more intentional questions, more curiosities, the engagement that's built. We're not in a rush to get married today. But the idea of dating apps being too many options, therefore too many access, y'all act like people getting on dating apps now. Again, there are people that are doing that, but that's not everybody that's doing that on dating apps. We have to be careful with lumping the few with all. Even though there are some people who get on dating apps and go buck wild, that doesn't mean everybody is. There are some people who are being very intentional with their time, their energy, and their body. And instead of trying to hurry to certain destinations, how about we take the time to engage in conversation with one another? I think that is something that will allow us to make a better difference and a healthier decision. Okay? It's a beginning step. The apps aren't end all be all. The apps aren't supposed to be something that we just lump sum everybody into. But if you're really someone who's engaging in this and being intentional in your dating, especially in days like today, June 19th, 2026, fam, the way social media has been moving, the way things have been growing, yes, there are greater chances for things to happen like AI and all that kind of stuff. But this is why we engage in levels of discernment and levels of self-awareness and levels of honesty and levels of intentionality. Every swipe means something. Every message means something. Every connection means something. And we move and carry that with us. We're not just waiting for things to happen for us. Someone with discipline can choose. Someone immature will keep browsing. If I have discipline, I'm going to make a decision. And discipline doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to make the decision to choose you. Discipline can also mean I'm going to make the decision to say no to you. And I'm going to communicate that and walk away instead of leading you on and continuing on this conversation as if something needs to continue to happen. No. No. Okay? So many options, nobody commits, no people do commit. But your commitments are based on your character, integrity, discipline, intentionality. Okay? So all these problems that we've just listed, here's the landing place that we have, and I'm closing the string. Okay? I hope this made sense. Put one in the chat if this was helpful. The landing place with this is that with intentionality comes presence. With presence comes safety, and with safety comes availability. I want you to write that down. With intentionality comes presence. With presence comes safety. With safety comes availability. So instead of constantly looking at other people and expecting the dating pool to change, we need to actually do the internal work so that we engage with this dating pool with a different lens to have better maturity at our ability to choose from places of safety. And in order to do that, you need to ask yourself, am I safe? Am I present and present with myself? Am I aligned in my values? How intentional and directional am I? Am I honest and self-aware? Am I honest and self-aware? Am I honest with myself? Here's a definition I did not create on my own. Comes from Dr. Zeb, amazing coach, friend of mine. He defines self-awareness as honesty about who you are, where you are, what you're doing at any given moment. Okay. And some of you, if you're being honest, even listening to this conversation, some of you have been going back and forth on dating apps. Should I use them? Should I not? Or just dating in general. Should I date? Should I not? And in all honesty, you aren't even in a position to make that decision because you're not healed. And I don't mean perfect. I mean doing intentional work to address the internal wounds in you that have not been addressed, that you might be running to dating to fix and solve, that isn't dating's job to fix and solve. It's okay to have a season on your own. It's okay to have a season on your own. But let's be honest about it. Okay? With intentionality comes presence. With presence comes safety. With safety comes availability. So I need you to ask yourself, are you safe? Are you present with yourself? Are you a safe person? Safe people create safe environments. Are you safe? Are you aligned in your values? Okay? For some of you, you might need to take this time as you're listening to this conversation. You might need to write down your values. What do I value? And I know there are a lot of you be like family, friends, church, God, all the things, beautiful. But if I were to layer and peel the onion back on all those things, why do I value those things? What exactly is at the core of those highlights that I deem valuable? For some of you, you might say family, but you're really saying closeness. For some of you, you say your faith. Yes, beautiful, Jesus, alignment, all the things. Okay. But there are some things that Jesus represents that you value. Obviously, everything Jesus. But maybe there's some things in this particular season that stick out to you most, like consistency, faithfulness, humility, integrity, communication, right? For some of you, you might need to take some time to ask yourself, hey, what do I need? What do I need as a man in a relationship, as a woman in a relationship? What do I need? What are some of my non-negotiables that I need to actually put down? When we're talking about measuring safe and presence, how often do you sit in silence? What's your relationship with silence? What's your relationship with rest? What's your relationship with being curious about the things that wake up inside of you as a result of behaviors people outside of you do? Okay. When you talk about feeling safe, are you someone that always needs to fix and correct, or can you grow into a place of allowing emotions to flow without needing them to be put somewhere for you to feel better about about who you are and what God is doing in you? All these things that are a little bit deeper, okay? Beginning conversations. I'm not saying you have to have it all figured out. I'm also not requiring you to be perfect to date. What I am asking you, though, is to be reflective. The whole premise of this conversation and what it boiled down to today is understanding that what we have been blaming for the dating apps has really been based on you, or obviously other people and their energy that they're bringing to the dating apps. But recognize that they don't get to set the tone. You do. You set the tone for who has access to you. You set the tone for the type of conversations you have. You set the tone based on the life you live and what you're portraying and giving access to, on what's acceptable and what's not, what relationships make sense for you and what doesn't. And when you learn to move with this level of self-control and leadership and tone adjustment, man, I'm telling you, I think you actually take a lot of pressure off yourself without having to limit all these other places that you can actually go and experience healthy dates and other people. No one's saying you have to get on dating apps and expose yourself to the whole world. But some of you really need to think long. And as I like to say, think wrong. Because I really do believe that part of this dilemma is that the real problems aren't really the dating apps. It's the unhealed people coming to dating apps. And if you're a healed person, it's not to say dating apps can't work for you. It just means it takes a little bit more diligence for you to find somebody who's aligned with you. If we know people are coming to these dating apps and are in unhealed positions, then we also know that even though the barrier of entry is low, it takes a little bit more effort for you to find the right person. And that is okay. That's the price we pay for healing. To whom much is given, much is required. Would you write that down? To whom much is given, much is required. So if we can be honest about that, we can make a difference. It's going to take a little bit more because you're doing the healing work. It's going to take a little bit more. It's going to take a little bit more endurance. It's going to take a little bit more some staying power. It's going to take a little bit more effort. But as we said earlier, Okay. The effort, anything that's worth building, that's sustainable, I'll say it specifically here. Okay. Anything that's wanted seriously requires considerably more effort and diligence to find and create. There's nowhere else in the world where we can apply this principle that if we want it bad enough, it's just going to happen for us. No, you got to put yourself in position to fight for it. And sometimes fighting for it looks like putting yourself in position to connect with somebody and it's a rejection on the other end. You might get ghosted from somebody you didn't even meet. They matched with you and then they didn't even message you. The real question is what's in it in us that is causing us to look at that and over identify with it, take it more personally, and react instead of allowing that to be feedback that lets us know, hey, this wasn't it. And that's cool because I'm healed and confident in my value and what I bring. This don't just work for dating apps, man. This work for people who don't use them as well.
Hey, you. So glad that you made it to the end of the video. Okay, if you want to know more of the context behind what was shared in this video, be sure to click here, okay, because that's going to be actually the stream replay as part of our recent series or conversation that we shared live with our audience. Be sure to check those out. We go live weekly across all platforms. And also, if you want to know the deeper meaning behind all that was shared and really the biggest goal of getting you to a place of security to let go of anxious attachment, but more importantly, to learn why you keep losing yourself in the midst of relationships, because it's a lot simpler than you think. It's going to be explained in one video to get you the results you need right then and there. Explains everything. Be sure to click here, okay, for this video. All right, and I hope to see you over there. Peace.